Hi, welcome to the small shed. This Saturday I'm actually making something in the shed for once. See you in a minute. So this is the first time I've actually been in the shed for about 5 weeks, certainly since well before Christmas, and it's the first time I've been doing anything, making anything, other than the bus bunk, which seems to have taken over since, I don't know, probably end of September time. So it's nice to actually get back out here. I'm probably again pushing the limits about as far as I can. I want to put one of the boards together for the Stourbridge Town layout. So it's not really making, actually, it's assembling a kit of parts, to be perfectly honest, but let's see how we get on with it. I'm going to actually put it together and just the one board. I'll leave the other board probably under the bed upstairs, still flat packed, because these things are going to take up quite a lot of room, and at the moment I only need one of them to do a lot of the work. So we'll get that started. It's a 5-foot board on a 4-foot bench, so we'll see how we get on with that, but there is a little bit of overhang that can be dealt with by the chop saw station or something like that. So let's make a start, have a look at what we've got, see the components, see how it all slots together, and I think I'll just do a dry run first, just to get a feel for how it's all going to fit, because I've given it a coat of polyurethane, just a single coat of cheap and cheerful Wilko varnish. It dries within 5 or 10 minutes, so it's very easy to apply, but it's now given it that seal that I wanted, that it'll take, you can wipe glue off it without it marking it. It means the board should stand handling better, you won't get grubby finger marks all over everything, and it just makes it better. I mean, it's not something you essentially needed to do, but I like to think it's sealed it and provide a little bit of resistance to any moisture getting into the plywood at all. Let's have a look at the components and I'll run through them with you. So this is one set of components. There is a back piece which will form the rear of the layout. The board itself that the layout will be built on slots into that all the way along the backboard, and there are verticals underneath it giving cross bracing, and then there's an end panel which is solid at one end that will go on my left hand side of the board, right at the far end, and there is an open one at the right hand side of the board. That's because there'll be another board identical to that joining onto it, so that you'll be able to just run through the two. And it's once you start and put these pieces on that it's going to start and get a little bit chunky. As it is when it's flat, it's not too bad. There is a front piece that goes at high level connecting the two ends. There is a front piece that goes at low level that helps form the box underneath, and then there are a series of cross pieces and diagonals in various sizes and thicknesses. They're all nice and neatly marked up, laser etched. At the moment I'm starting specifically with the underneath. This is the underneath of the main board, and what you will have there is a series of intermediates, and what I wanted to check with the dry run was that putting varnish on hasn't made it so that things won't fit together, but it does appear that they're fine and that they all slot in nicely. So I've put all the intermediates will go in, they'll go in like that, and then there are some diagonals which go in, which will be fixed probably when I've done the front and the back. And there are some end diagonals which are slightly shorter, because there is another layer across. The front piece again will just then slot in like that. It all clicks together very nicely. I can just use a little bit of tight bond on it, and there are screws as well to screw it once it's all assembled. You'll also notice, in addition to the holes just for lightness and everything, there are also small depressions all the way along, which are again useful for getting cabling laid underneath to feed tracks and things like that. So I think the first thing to do, just slowly get these cross pieces on, make sure it's all clamped up flat, straight and true, vertical, right angle and everything like that. Fine, let's get some tight bond on the go first. This has become my go-to glue nowadays, this tight bond 3. I must get some more. I thought I was going to be let down by the fact that it didn't come out, but it was principally because it's nearly empty. Again, we're stuck in a situation where I can't get any more. I can't go out and get any more, I should say, because we're all locked down. But never mind, as you watch this, if you're watching it as it comes out, fortunately I should be at this very moment getting my first jab, COVID jab, 10:30 on Saturday, so hopefully things are all getting better. So if next week you see me with a green head and 4 eyes, well, I've already got 4 eyes, but another 4 eyes, you'll know what it is. So all I'm going to do now is just carry on gluing this up. I'll skip in and out at times in the future, and you can see how it develops as we go along. I just won't bore you with having to watch glue dry. Right, that's clamped it all up. At the moment, I'll just temporarily put the front on, or the back panel, the front panel, because that will keep them upright, that will keep the cross pieces upright. Right, next is an end piece. It's got to go on there, so we'll need to apply glue just there. Make sure it's the right one, left hand board. That slips onto there. got an open end at one end there, and closed at this. Similar sort of thing. Got the screws, bit of glue. This all starts to stiffen it up. That's what I like about the whole thing, really. You've got a beautiful fit on everything, which is something that you get with the CNC work. And that basically is all there is to it for the woodwork. Right, so that's the first baseboard built. It's taken, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours probably altogether, and I'm quite happy with it. Would I change anything? Yes, several things, but when you're buying something off the shelf, it's inevitable that you're going to end up with some sort of compromise because it's somebody else's design. One thing I hadn't appreciated was that this piece sticks out for support, and I get that, but the rest of this whole board is flush there. So I've got that little nib of about 1 inch sticking out there on the join, and I'm not entirely sure that's not going to catch on things. So I might do something to just reinforce that somehow. But yeah, on the whole, very happy. Have a quick look and see what it'll look like, hopefully, in theory, when it's all set up. So these are the bits that I built to test the ideas out probably 2 years ago now in foam board, just to give a rough idea of where it's all going, and hopefully it should work out okay. I'm still slightly undecided. There is a possibility I might put the rail join in there and shift the whole thing along up to there, to give me a little bit more room for scenery at the end, but that's something I'll play with over the next day or two. But it is possible to get the whole thing in on one go, on one board, and I just need to go back and have a think about what is going in here. There's a wall got to go across the end of the track, and it's whether I've got enough room between there and the back scene to sort of lose a bit of perspective and distance there. Perhaps I might just move it that way a bit, but at least now I've got something I can visualize it with. It gives me an idea for viewing angles. The whole point of these is that you can only view from a certain angle and a certain height, and I shall be using that with a wall at the back of the station which exists on the hill out of Stourbridge Town itself, where the road goes, so that you'll be able to look over and just see the tops of cars perhaps and the houses in the back, but you will only get a certain limited area that you're viewing from. But on the whole, that seems to fit the bill. It's slightly unwieldy. I should have gone for 2 or 3 4-foot boards perhaps, but this way you can get the whole thing in one go, and it's something which then, either with wheels or just lifting, you can just pick up and walk away with at the end of an exhibition. All the lighting will be self-contained within the top, and hopefully all of the controls and wiring will all be in on the other board. So that's got the board made, first one of the 2. As I mentioned earlier, I won't bother with the second one at the moment because something this big lying around is going to be a nuisance. I've got all I need to work on to get the main part and most of the guts of this thing built, all on the one board. Hope it was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week when we'll try and do something different, and I hope to see you then. Bye.